Okay. So I think you guys are trying to learn more about what the topics we learned in our previous sessions and doing your own research as well to go by going through some online material. I posted like couple of documents in the same folder in case if you get a chance you can have a look at them as well. So, like in our previous sessions, we learned like what a business analyst typical role will be, and also like what kind of requirements and who will be the stakeholders and what do you mean by stakeholders, and also few important SDLC models which are used in software IT development. So now we'll come to the requirement part. So whatever the model it is followed, the role of a BA is to gather the requirements and document them and provide them to the technical team. And before providing them to the technical team, just take a sign off from the business people or the stakeholders to make sure that everything you have gathered from them is documented properly and makes sense and it is satisfying their needs and requirements. So when I say gather, so let's take an example of like plucking the apples from an apple tree. If you want an apple, you go to the tree and just pluck the apples. The tree won't give the apples directly to you, right? So if there is wind or something, the apples might fall and you might collect it. So that's what gathering is. Or else you have to use different techniques to collect your apples. Either you have to use a long stick to pull them, or you have to use a stone to just hit them and make them drop. So these are the techniques which you use to collect the apple. Similarly, for a business analyst, not all the people will be ready to give away the information even though they are designated to, or they know that they should be coordinating with you to provide you whatever you need. But most of the people, due to their busy nature or their busy schedules, or due to their personal nature, not willing to cooperate. A BA role is always dealing with the people, and the people will be of different types and kinds. So in your daily life also, if you are meeting with different people, not all the people will be the same, right? So similarly here in IT development also, you will encounter different types of stakeholders. Even sometimes you will not have a cooperating developer or QA lead or QA tester also, but we come to that part later. But when gathering the requirements, you always will not have cooperative people. If you have very cooperative people who are willing to help and offer, yeah, that's well and good. But if you do not have, what will you do? So business analysis concepts covers these aspects also, that there are like few techniques to gather those requirements called elicitation techniques. So by eliciting what do you want from them, you gather the requirements from the business people. uh, is there anyone waiting in the lobby? Second. The team's options. Okay. So yeah, this is a typical diagram, like how it happens in most of the scenarios. And a BA's role is to, this is just an illustrative example to show how it happens. So in the first picture you see that this is how the customer is explaining what they need. They need a ladder kind of swing tied to a tree, and the project leader who attends the initial scope meetings, he understood it in this way, and when he explains the same to the analyst, he designed it this way. And when the programmer takes it, the programmer thought it this way and developed this way. The programmer thought it this way and developed this way. And this is how the business consultant described it, and the project was documented like this. And after the project was completely developed, the operations team installed it like this, and the customer was built like this, and it was supported like this as if there is no product at all. And in the last scene, you see what the customer really needed. So giving you an illustration example how different people understand if you are telling something to them. So in the last picture, what you see is what the customer is really asking for, and this is how explained it in the first screen, and how everyone understood it in different stages of the building this project. And finally the customer was billed like this with a product in the second picture from the right in the bottom. So if the BA is not correct, and if he is not doing the correct job, or even if the customer is not explaining it correctly, if whatever the stage may be, if someone is going wrong or the communication is not proper, the whole product is going to fail. So this is just an example. So let me go to the next step. So requirements elicitation process. So what are the inputs? What are the inputs? Inputs will be scope definition and goals from the enterprise analysis, requirements planning outputs like stakeholders, elicitation tool, list traceability strategy, and everything. So like inputs are what is customer is giving it to you, what customer explains you. He explains the scope, what will be the scope of this project, what are the goals he's trying to achieve in the form of high level requirements, business requirements, and you are the one, you will be converting those into deliverables. You take the business level needs and you convert them into a prescribed set of deliverables tightly coupled with requirement analysis and documentation tools. You use different documentation tools like Jira or Confluence or SharePoint. Sometimes there is a tool called MS Visio. I'll upload a document into the folder with a simple like steps on how to use that tool. You can just have a look at that. So to use that tool to design the diagrams wherever needed. I'll go through the diagrams what all are used in. They were mostly used in waterfall models, but when most of the people nowadays are following like pure agile methodology, but some people are still stuck to waterfall as well, so they follow hybrid methodology. They follow the requirements and user stories like agile, but they will use some documentation tools which were used to support the waterfall model, and still they are using these. There are different types of diagrams to document the process. I'll get into them later, maybe tomorrow, I believe. But before that, the thing is that BA will have a set of deliverables and he'll deliver them using proper documentation. The documentation along with the supporting material is the deliverable for BA. So it might be anything like requirements or document like activity diagrams or use case diagrams or use cases or anything, but they should be properly documented, easily understandable for everyone, and follow the company norms and organization procedures. Because if you are here today, after 6 months maybe you get a better opportunity, you leave this project, but the next person taking your place should be able to understand it. That's why each company follows a similar or same set of process to document everything in their project or related projects. And this will be tightly coupled with requirement analysis and documentation tools. Sometimes you might need to supply with a set of Excel sheets or tables to design the database tables and stuff. So you should be doing that as well.
So both these documentation and basically gathering and delivering will be using all these other tools like Jira and other things, is it?
Yes. If you are following agile methodology, usually like 90% of the organizations use Jira for their user story cards, and they will document the detailed requirements in Confluence and link that Confluence to page to the actual Jira card.
Okay. If you have to explain agile methodology a little more in detail, that will be
Oh
great.
yeah. Agile methodology will take at least 1 hour. I'll explain you in detail. I'll show you how Jira looks like as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let's
So
move.
you call agile methodology for the tools that are being used like Jira and all of that, correct?
Yeah, agile is a methodology like waterfall or spiral. Yesterday we looked at, right? In our
Yeah,
previous class
got
we
it.
looked at. So agile methodology or agile scrum is a software methodology which is followed by the teams while implementing or developing a software.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.